Outside Denton, Texas, a sinister story unfolds. Locals whisper of Goatman's Bridge, a place where darkness reigns. A demonic entity, half man, half goat, haunts the rotten timbers. It's said he was a former goat farmer, driven mad by a gruesome act. Now he seeks revenge on those who dare cross his path. Driven by the need to confront the unknown, my team and I embarked on an investigation. We had heard the stories, the blood-chilling accounts of the Goatman's wrath. This was no ordinary legend. This was a darkness we had to experience firsthand. Our goal, to stare into the abyss and hope it didn't stare back. The sun dipped below the horizon as we neared the bridge. Shadows stretched, twisting like phantoms in the fading light. A palpable chill settled over the area, seeping into our bones. The air grew heavy, thick with anticipation and dread. A sense of foreboding washed over me, whispering that we were venturing too far. We parked a safe distance away, gathering our gear in tense silence. The only sounds were the distant chirping of crickets and our own heartbeats echoing in our ears. We were intruders in this domain, trespassers in the Goatman's territory. With each step towards the bridge, the energy shifted, growing darker and more oppressive. Built in the 1800s, the old bridge was once a beacon of progress. It connected communities, facilitated trade, and stood as a testament to human ingenuity and determination. People would gather here, sharing stories and dreams of a brighter future. Now it stood as a monument to fear, its timbers groaning under the weight of its sinister past. The once vibrant structure had decayed, its wooden planks creaking ominously in the dead of night. The bridge, now abandoned, seemed to echo the cries of those who had suffered upon it. Locals whispered tales of the goat farmer who was lynched on the bridge, his spirit forever bound to the spot. They spoke of seeing his ghostly figure wandering the area, his mournful eyes searching for justice that would never come. The tragic story of the farmer had become a chilling legend, passed down through generations. Others spoke of satanic rituals and unholy sacrifices. The bridge had become a gathering place for those who dabbled in the dark arts, leaving behind symbols and remnants of their sinister ceremonies. The air around the bridge was thick with the residue of these malevolent acts, adding to its already dark reputation. The bridge itself seemed to absorb the darkness, exuding an aura of malice. It was as if the structure had a life of its own, feeding off the fear and despair that surrounded it. The shadows seemed to cling to the bridge, making it a place where light dared not venture. Every gust of wind seemed to carry whispers of pain and suffering. The howling wind through the trees and across the bridge sounded like the anguished cries of lost souls. Leaves rustled eerily, and the atmosphere grew colder, as if the bridge itself was mourning the tragedies it had witnessed. The very air hummed with a strange energy, a palpable tension that prickled the skin. Visitors often reported feeling an inexplicable sense of dread, their skin crawling with goosebumps as they approached the bridge. It was as if the bridge was alive, aware of their presence and warning them to stay away. It was a place where the veil between our world and the next felt thin, almost non-existent. The boundary between the living and the dead seemed to blur, and many claimed to have seen ghostly figures crossing the bridge, disappearing into the mist. It was a place where reality and the supernatural intertwined, creating an atmosphere of perpetual unease. As we walked across the weathered planks, the wind picked up. It howled through the trees, sounding like a chorus of tormented souls. The bridge swayed slightly, groaning in protest under our weight. My hand instinctively reached for my flashlight, the cold metal a small comfort in the growing darkness. The whispers on the wind grew louder, morphing into distinct voices. We strained to make out the words, but they remained just out of reach, tantalizingly close yet impossible to decipher. A cold hand seemed to brush against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Terror, primal and instinctive, threatened to consume me. We were not alone. Section 5. The Scent of Decay. A foul odor wafted through the air, a harbinger of something sinister lurking within the shadows. The unmistakable stench of rotting flesh permeated the atmosphere. It clung to the back of my throat, making me gag and my eyes water. The smell was so overpowering that it felt like a physical presence, wrapping around me like a suffocating shroud. The air grew thick with the smell, suffocating us with its intensity. Each breath was a struggle, as if the very air had turned against us, laden with the essence of decay. It was the smell of death, of something ancient and evil, the kind of smell that spoke of long-forgotten horrors and whispered tales of malevolence that had seeped into the very soil of the forest. Our eyes scanned the woods, searching for the source of the putrid odor. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig heightened our senses, making us jumpy and alert. The trees, gnarled and twisted, seemed to close in around us, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to grab us. They stood as silent sentinels, witnesses to the dark history that permeated the forest. The feeling of being watched intensified, sending a jolt of adrenaline through my body. It was as if unseen eyes were tracking our every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Something was out there, hidden in the shadows, observing our every move. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on us, making every step feel like a journey into the unknown. We were not alone, and whatever was out there, it was watching, waiting, and biding its time. Section 6, eyes glowing red. A pair of eyes, glowing an eerie red, pierced the darkness from the depths of the woods. They were unlike anything I had ever seen before, almost otherworldly in their intensity. The way they shone through the thick veil of night was both mesmerizing and terrifying. They burned like hot coals, filled with a malevolence that chilled me to my core. It was as if they held a deep, ancient anger, a rage that had been simmering for centuries, waiting for the right moment to unleash its fury. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing like a drum in the stillness of the night. The sound was deafening in the silence, amplifying my fear. I could feel the blood rushing through my veins, my pulse quickening with every passing second. Fear, raw and primal, surged through my veins. It was the kind of fear that strips away all rational thought, leaving only the instinct to survive. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what I was seeing, but there were no logical explanations. My breath hitched in my throat and I froze, every muscle in my body locked in place. I wanted to run, to scream, to do anything to break free from the paralyzing grip of terror, but I couldn't move. It was as if those eyes had cast a spell on me, holding me captive in their gaze. The eyes remained fixed on us, unwavering in their intensity. They seemed to be studying us, assessing our every move. There was a predatory intelligence behind them, a cunning that made my skin crawl. They seemed to burn through the darkness, searing into our very souls. It felt like they could see right through us, exposing our deepest fears and vulnerabilities. The longer I stared into those eyes, the more I felt my resolve crumbling. In that moment, I knew we had stumbled upon something truly sinister. This was no ordinary encounter, it was a brush with the unknown, a glimpse into a world that existed just beyond the veil of our understanding. And as the eyes continued to bore into us, I realized that we were not just witnesses to this darkness. We were its prey. Section 7. A blood-curdling encounter. A guttural growl, low and menacing, erupted from the trees. It was a sound that spoke of pure rage and aggression, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. The ground vibrated beneath our feet as something large moved through the undergrowth. The growl escalated into a deafening roar, shaking the very foundations of the bridge. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and a cold sweat broke out on my skin. We were in the presence of something powerful, something evil. It was the Goatman, and he was not pleased with our presence. Section 8, fleeing into the night. Panic surged through me, overriding every other instinct. We turned and ran, our flashlights bouncing wildly, casting grotesque shadows that danced around us. The bridge swayed precariously beneath our feet, threatening to send us plunging into the darkness below. The sound of our own ragged breathing filled the air, punctuated by the pounding of our footsteps on the wooden planks. The Goatman's enraged roars echoed behind us, urging us onward. We didn't dare look back, knowing that to do so would be to invite disaster. We fled into the night, desperate to escape the clutches of the Goatman's bridge. Section 9. Haunted by the memory. We left the bridge behind, but the experience left an indelible mark on our souls. The memory of those glowing red eyes, the stench of decay, the blood-curdling roar. All of it remained vivid in my mind, haunting my waking hours and seeping into my dreams. The Goatman's Bridge was not just a place, it was a living nightmare, a testament to the darkness that lurks at the edges of our world. It was a reminder that there are some forces in this universe that are beyond our comprehension, beyond our ability to control. Section 10. Goatman's reign continues. To this day, I can still feel the weight of the Goatman's gaze upon me, a constant reminder of the terror I experienced on that bridge. The experience left me forever changed, my perception of the world forever altered. I had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back. The Goatman still reigned supreme on his bridge, a malevolent entity guarding his domain. His legend will continue to be passed down through generations, a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed. The darkness lingers, a constant threat to those who dare to